Welcome back to WagerTalk.com. We're shifting gears and heading to the NFL. We're going to take a look at Carolina at Oakland. Guys, the Oakland Raiders, man, 8-2, number one seed in the AFC. If the playoffs started today, who would have thunk it? Come on. I mean, I know there was a lot of buzz this summer at the Hilton, I still call it the Hilton Westgate, for the Super Contest weekend. But I don't think anybody expected this out of the Raiders at this point in time. Brian, we'll start with you on this one.
I'll say it, and just like I've said, this team is not as good as what their record is. We all saw the Monday Night Football game. I'm not a complainer. I take it as it is. You know, I took the 6.5 with Houston. But there's no way you can tell me that Oakland was the better team on that football field that game. But I've learned my lesson. I've got hit in the head too many times. I have no opinion on this game.
Well, what do we got you on here for? Well, I tell you, I am a complainer, and I did have Houston plus the 6.5. I wasn't happy on Monday night. There is no way that they should not have covered that spread, you know, and at least if they get the field goal, down there, if they get the first down like they should have had, on third down, on fourth down. I mean, neither one of them looked close to me, and I don't know what the referees were looking at, and of course the touchdown.
The first ticket in their pocket, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe, yeah.
Actually, I heard the news that they're not moving to Las Vegas. They're not moving to Mexico. Mexico is their kind of referees in Mexico. So
and they got fans in the stands with the laser pointers.
Yeah.
It was just a horrible game. But guys, Oakland, it's amazing. They keep finding ways to win these close games. And Derek Carr, what a season he's having. I mean, he's matured this year beyond any expectations. I mean, I always liked him from the moment he come into the league, but I never thought he was going to have a season like he's having this year. And he's finally got some targets.
He's got great targets.
Yeah, I was going to say that the receivers are incredible. Nothing wrong with Carr, nothing wrong with the passing game, obviously. But as Brian was saying, just to kind of build on what he was saying, this team is so fundamentally flawed on the defensive side of the football. I mean, this team makes a wrong read and ends up with a pick. In a key moment of the game, it's crazy. So they're one of the worst overall defenses in the NFL as far as yardage allowed, both passing, rushing the football, total yards allowed per game. And as I said, they can be had. Their schedule isn't daunting so far this season. And boy, it just, when I look at this team, I think if they keep, I guess, the basics of this team around, the roster around on defense next year, through 10 games next year, we might be talking about a 5-5 football team because they are so flawed on the defensive side of the football. But as Brian said, they find ways to win. Here's the thing about Carolina, and when you back Carolina at this point, you got to make sure they still want to be in the game if they're down by 10 going into the fourth quarter because they're 4-6. But they're a grand total of 10 points away from being 8-2, which is the same record the Oakland Raiders had. So for those reasons, I think getting more than 3, because it went up to 3.5. Oakland coming off the game in Mexico City, the big win, the emotional win, if you will, now coming back home. I think there's only one way to go for me in this game, and that would be to take the points as long as you're getting more than 3. And the Panthers are, as we talk about this game, they're getting 3.5. I don't know that Oakland is that much better than the Carolina Panthers. Again, the Panthers are that close, 4 or 5 plays away from potentially being 8-2 rather than 4-6. And this defense for the Raiders, I think, can be had.
Brian, Carolina, you look at them the last couple weeks, they've had big leads in both games. They lost one of them against Kansas City. They blew a 17-0 lead. Last week on Thursday Night Football, and there's one that I got lucky. I had the Saints plus the 3.5, had the hook. They didn't deserve to be in the game. They were getting blown out. And once again, Carolina, it's like they shut it down. And here comes the Saints back, and they got the backdoor cover. Can they do that here? The one thing that I will point out from Monday night, I'm a big situational guy, and all we heard about all week leading up to that Oakland game in Mexico was how are the teams going to handle the altitude. They talked about it was like 2,000 feet higher,
7,500 feet
higher than Denver and everything. And now, being a situational guy, they're coming off of that game on a short week versus a team coming off extra days because Carolina played on Thursday. I got to think that that's got to be some kind of edge for Carolina in this game.
Yeah, the fundamentals would point you towards Carolina handicapping I don't know how old you are, but we've been doing it for 35 years.
He's been doing it as long as we have.
Okay.
Somehow he does it.
No, I've only been around for 10 years.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
We're just not smart enough
Real lousy
to
hair,
use a
real lousy
photo
genetics,
that has hair.
real lousy genetics that come that
All I
set
got
up
to
the hair
say
a
is
bit.
for 29, it looks like shit. But you would want to play Carolina, but something added to it that we haven't discussed. This is Thanksgiving weekend. There's a lot of people that will be betting this week that don't normally bet. Who do you think they're going to take in this game? They're going to take Oakland, who look good on Monday Night Football, won again, great record. So if you do want to bet Oakland, bet it as soon as you can. If you like Carolina, I think we can maybe make catch a 4 here.
By the way, did you know this is the first time? It's 11 games now. This is the 11th game of the season for Carolina. This is the first time they've been an underdog this entire season. So I think this is a situation where you come in and probably do like Bryan says. The public has been enamored in love and lust and everything else you can say with the Oakland Raiders since the offseason. The Oakland Raiders in NFL, the Michigan Wolverines in college, they were so public it was ridiculous, and they still are almost each and every week. So I think Bryan's right. You can wait a little longer if you like the Carolina Panthers, maybe get another half point up to 4.
Yeah, and Scott, we do on our radio show each week, we have the segment with Eddie Fair. We do fantasy football. I don't do a lot in fantasy football. This is a week that I would have asked Eddie. We were doing the show this week. I think Cam Newton has a big game this week. If you look at the Raiders at their schedule, this is the first time they've played a mobile quarterback that can take it right now. I think Cam Newton, if they open it up and let him do everything, I think he's going to have a big game with both his arm and his legs in this one. And that's something that Oakland has not seen, which adds another dynamic that defense that's not good has to prepare for. I like Carolina in this one.
I know we're short on time, but Mac should have a huge game here because he's such a good defensive player. It could get to the quarterback, and they've been having problems protecting Cam Newton all season long. So if you do play that, and I think he's going to have a good day. But other than that, I think the way to play this game is the over.
And the last thought for me is that the reason you don't want to make this a big play on Carolina if you like them is because you don't know where they're going to be between the years if they go into the fourth quarter down by 10 and maybe some crazy mistake in the third quarter made it a 3-point game to a 10-point game, and then you got to worry about them folding again. That's the only reason I won't make this a big play, but it is a play nonetheless.
All right, there you go. Bryan says the over. Scott says lean to Carolina. I lean to Carolina. I also like the over too because I do think if Carolina does get a lead, based on what's happened the last 2 weeks, I don't think Rivera takes his foot off the gas this week and keeps attacking with the offense. So there you have it for Sunday action. And don't forget, guys, $69 weekend all access. Normally $39 this week. You can get it as our way of saying thank you for our Thanksgiving special. Take advantage of that Thanksgiving Day because the prices will go back after midnight on the weekend all access to the normal price. So grab that on Thursday, guys. We'll be back with more here at WagerTalk.com. What's your best bet, Bryan?